people will do cover versions, and they'll use something else to get attention. It's a bit like that with LEDs. If your product isn't that well known, you're using the core of Meanwhile and Samsung to sort of give it legitimacy and help people to trust what you're providing. But yeah, I think that will ease over time. And already I can see, like Mars Hydro is a good example, where their more budget fixtures are using basically no-name LEDs. They don't name the suppliers of the LEDs or the manufacturers, so they're using stuff which is in-house or Chinese brands that we don't recognize. The lights perform just as well.
Makes total sense.
I was going to say, yeah, the quality seems to be there with Mars Hydro. And I know I talked about earlier, I mentioned that they were selling lights in 2019 and they put out in 2014. But since then, they've definitely, they're one of those budget friendly companies that actually have pretty good quality these days.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, everyone's talking about, Samsung LEDs. LM301H is supposedly, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest efficiency diode on the market today.
Yeah.
Are there any other diodes beyond Samsung that we can look for? I know you mentioned the Sol diodes, but are there any other ones? I know Cree, Osram, but it seems like there's a lot of folks that are just gung-ho on Samsung, and I feel like there's more diodes out there that are quality that you can get away with using and that are up there with Samsung.
Yeah, there's chips that I've used in the past, so Luminous, Sol, Semiconductors, Osram, Philips, all those big brands, they've all got the same sort of levels of quality control and warranties and all that kind of stuff that, they've built their reputation as companies over a long time. And, it's not like any of these companies, as I said, have any really different technology down underneath, in terms of the diodes and the wafers and the little gold wires and the phosphorus coating. It's just much more about quality control and good quality manufacturing. And we're in this sort of maturing phase now. And I've really noticed it this year that the early days of LEDs, it was a bit like the Wild West. There's lots of different companies all over the place doing lots of different things and lots of innovation going on, and prices were high and lots of buzz around it. And then as it matures, and particularly with the LED bars, bar style lights is a good example. Everybody's making a 650 watt bar light for a 5x5. There's just so many to choose from. They're all very similar form, so they all look very similar. Functionally, they're very similar. They've got dimming, they've got connectivity, they've all that stuff. And the difficulty for us as manufacturers when it comes to that is people go, well, how am I going to decide between these guys when they're all so similar? And what happens is it goes to price. And so there's a lot of big companies out there that are getting really aggressive on price this year, particularly. So I just did a review from Floraflex, another big horticulture company, and they bought out an LED fixture this year for a 660 watt fixture for $650. So less than $1 a watt from an American company. And of course the light's made in China. They don't pretend anything else, and they don't say it's the best light ever. They just say, here you go. We know it's going to sell because the price point that we put it at, and it forces everybody else to get efficient, to get streamlined, to get their prices down to match. It's great for customers. It's great for growers. I think the next year or two we'll probably see a lot of smaller companies failing, unfortunately. I think, and the larger companies mopping up that business. A bit like you'd see in any other mature industry.
You see the expansion of so many of these companies having comparable style lighting, and before there'd be a handful that had bars, and that was kind of what made them proprietary. Like, well, they have the bar style lighting, and now you see with the FC series with Mars, Spider Farmer has bars. Everybody you can think of, I can't think of many companies who don't, and the ones who don't are having other things that are slightly somewhat proprietary. Like Kind has a different looking light. It was very unique. Even AC Infinity, shout out to their sponsor, AC Infinity, they have a different, their light, they haven't put a whole lot of information about it, but I gotta believe it's going to be integrated into their controller. In some sense, it's got to be.
They've been in touch with me actually. They're gonna send me pictures very soon.
Well, I'm excited to see
We're
that.
going to first, and I think the competitiveness of the industry is obvious when a lot of these LED companies are doing far more than just LEDs. You know, you've got tents, you've got air units or air circulators, you've got modulars, you've got everything. They've got their labels on just about everything.
Full
So
growth, with the
speaks
Green
to-
Sunshine Company.
Right.
Everything.
Speaks to it speaks to the aggressiveness and the competitiveness of the industry. Now, I kind of wanted to pivot a little bit because road science is something that I specialize in. I have a degree, graduate in 2011. We had a conversation with somebody in the live stream. The three of us were discussing spectrums, and Chris gave us a wonderful explanation. We didn't do it. I just we were having a conversation in regards to full spectrum lights and whether or not a full spectrum light is as competitive as either a veg specific spectrum light or a flower specific spectrum light. Would a full spectrum take away or give more, or is there a desire to have that all in one?
So pretty much all LED lights are full spectrum. I have not tested a light in the last 4 or 5 years that isn't suitable for going all the way through from veg to flower. If you think about it as a recipe, there's blue, green, and red are the main constituents in terms of power. Then you've got UV, ultraviolet, and red. UV, or at least UVA, is basically cast the same as blue. So if you take the two of them together, your blue has a big impact on plant development. It affects basically what's called cell expansion, which is the size of the cells in the plant. And what that results in is
I was putting the
longer stalks, longer
the
internodes,
eraser board back up.
longer branches,
It'd be falling off from the sticky stuff.
if you don't have enough of it. And studies show that once you have a minimum of 5 or 6% blue, will regulate that cell expansion to a point where it'll be suitable again for growing all the way from veg to flower. HPS only has about 3% blue, and that's why we used to have, the metal halide HPS combination. We used the metal halide with about 23% blue. That would keep our plants nice and short and dense during the veg stage. And we also didn't need as much horsepower, we didn't need as much light intensity in those early stages for the younger plants. And almost all the LEDs that I look at now would be what's called mid-color temperature. So they'd be sort of a warm white up to a cool white, like 3,000 K to about 5,000 K color temperature, and sometimes a mix of the two. And the blue, in those color temperatures, the blue proportion or percentage would be about 12 or 15% blue, more than blue and red and color. After that, you've got green in the middle. Green is like a thinner color. It is useful in the sense in having it as part of the mix, in that green photons, they do bounce off the leaves, but they bounce around the place and they also penetrate the leaves deeper, so they're quite useful in these situations. So they get down a little bit further than the other spectrum. Red then is fairly neutral, but it's slightly higher efficiency in terms of photosynthetic efficiency. So we want as much red in that mix as possible, and that's why there's a combination of two factors. You're adding those red LEDs because they're more efficient horticulturally, or photosynthetically, but they're also more efficient electrically. However, the downside is they're also more expensive electrically. So they're added into the lights a bit like sort of a turbo booster, where they're within that mix of the light spectrum, they'll give it sort of an extra boost electrically, so more power output per watt, and also a little boost photosynthetically. They don't affect flowering in that sense, they don't. And this is sort of residual from the blurple lights, where they used to say, you have blue for veg and red for flowering. that wasn't to do with plant development or the shape of the plant or how the fire or when it was started. It's purely about energy terms, like life intensity terms. The bulk of the plant in the firing stage, you want as much fire intensity as possible. And people associate that with them, but it doesn't affect plant development basically. There's then a discussion or argument around far red. Far red has the opposite effect of blue. If you have a little bit of a tip there and too much of that, you promote that cell expansion again. So most LEDs will have a really good, you see in the spectrum, this is a training data at the end going into far red, going out of far red. So most white LEDs will have 3-4% far red, which is perfectly fine. I'm not sure whether it's sensible to you to add in extra far red LEDs. They're not as photosynthetically efficient as far red, so you're not going to get the same growth per watt used or per dollar for buying them and installing them. There's a little bit of people believing that far red is going to do something else to sort of add something extra in terms of flaring, but you're planting it. Yeah, it's pro science. So the
right? Doesn't that have to do with it with the IR?
Emerson effect is about full spectrum. So if you just got red LEDs, grew a plant with red LEDs, you get a certain amount of growth. If you put the same power intensity down but mixed it with green and red, you would get slightly more growth. And it's again, it's been misinterpreted as you get some sort of multiplier effect where if I add in some far red, it makes the other photons more absorbed. It takes 8 photons to generate 1 unit of photosynthesis. And the plant does not care if it's blue or green or red. So growth, as in yield in the mass of the plant, is related to how much light you're putting there. Plant development, so the shape of the plant, is about what spectrum you use. But if you're in the white zone, so you're using a mixture of all those three, you're getting the Emerson effect straight away, which is the mixed low spectrum. And you're getting a good plant development, which is balanced. It's going to grow short and dense, it's going to be healthy. Most importantly, I think that in terms of the recent developments is that you get a nice clean white light where you can see everything that's going on.
I love that technology, absolutely. So it's fair to say, Chris, you told us. Okay, that's fine. You can say. You can say. You're right.
Definitely, that's one thing you want to look at, right? Actually, just to talk about that real quick, I've heard it's 15 to 20% blue light is kind of ideal. Shane just mentioned that it was 12 to 15%.
Oh well, anything above 5% will sort of trigger shorter cell expansion. So if once you've got a minimum of 5% is a very warm light. It's just slightly bit cooler than HPS. So HPS is about 3% blue. So 5% is just that lower limit. But anywhere really from sort of 7 or 8% up is good. You could argue that when you get over 12 or 15%, you're kind of using too much because you're putting out blue photons instead of red ones at that point. And red ones are a little bit more photosynthetically efficient. So if you want to really dial it in, you'd maximize the red. You'd have some green in the middle just to keep it bright so you can see what's going on. And you'd have it at around 10% blue. But if I adjusted from 10% blue to 15% red, and the red, sorry, 10% from 10% blue to 15% blue, and the red goes down proportionately, the impact on my yield is going to be minuscule. Like it's going to be a percent or two. It's not really. Again, there's no magic in the spectrum. There's no. If you use these photons, you get a multiplier effect. No, if you count them out, 8 photons equals 1 unit of photosynthesis, which is 1 molecule of glucose, which is 1 unit of growth. It's chemistry and physics, and there is not any magical sort of
Row science.
multiplier effect that you can have. Yeah, there's no fairy dust you can
It's just
sprinkle
so
on
nice
it.
and frozen, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yep.
Go ahead. I was going to say one thing that I think worth mentioning. I know there's going to be some viewers here that are going to go and they're going to start trying to look to see what the percentage of blue is on their fixture. Now, unfortunately, I feel like 99% of companies don't advertise that, right? The only way you can look at that is if you get an integrated sphere report, and then you're able to see the percentage of that. So you might have to actually reach out to your manufacturer, request that report from them in order to see where they're at. And some companies aren't really open about that at all, I feel like.
What I would say is, if you go to my Instagram, first of all, I'm putting out a video very shortly on Spectrum, which is kind of debunking a lot of this stuff and just
And where is that?
saying it's coming out on YouTube in the next week or two. But I have a few Instagram posts that deal with this, and they show graphs of the blue, green, and red proportion of lots of different typical grow lights. And so here's a really good example. Back in vertical times, people had blue LEDs and red LEDs, and that's all they had. They used them. And there's companies like Viper Spectra that used to use just a little bit more blue than other people. So they used to use about 20% blue, which is right around the same. And I still talk to people who love their vertical lights for doing their seedlings and their things. And that's really because it's got that 20% blue, and it's giving it that. First of all, the blue does add a little. It makes plants a little greener too. It actually makes them appear a little bit greener too. So it's not just the growth, but they'll look healthier and they'll look a bit more green and vibrant as well when they're a little bit more blue. And also just the mere fact that you shine the blue light on the next day, a bit greener, a bit richer, a bit darker.
Yeah, to the eye.
Yeah, just we all fool ourselves with lots of these sort of visual effects all the time. And, so there's validity in saying that, for example, for young plants, using a higher clear temperature, so 5 or 6K light, LED wise, it's got 20-25% blue for a specific application. Makes sense. But when you want one light to grow the whole way through, it's you just want something that's right in the middle of the road. It's going to have that balance of blue and red, where it's as efficient as it can be for power and yield purposes, and has enough blue that it will be suitable for stages all the way through.
So full spectrum is you find from beginning to end.
And that's whether it's CMH, whether it's a vertical light, whether it's got white with reds in it, or white with high color temperature or low color temperature, or it's got little UVA LEDs. They all will work perfectly.
One unit of photosynthesis. I think that's what I picked up out of this entire thing.
Well, I'm glad you brought up UV. A lot of people are stuck on that now, where there's some lights that are being implemented with UVB, where they have this.
UVB.
Oh.
Yeah, I sell a UVB light myself, so it's the one area where there's
Alright, let's kill some little motherfuckers, man.
It's not about mass, it's not about growth, it's about stimulating basically oil production. So it's much more about terpenes and flavonoids. And in fact, UVB, if you use it at early stages of growth, will reduce your growth rate. It basically it'll basically tell the plant or message the plant to start creating oils and to protect itself. And so instead of just growing as fast as it can, it'll be going into sort of protection. So you don't want to use it through veg, and even the first halfway through flower when the plant is really bulky. It's only really to be used the last 2-3 weeks of flowering, and you use it very sparingly. You'll only apply it for maybe an hour or two a day, and you're trying to stimulate that response without basically damaging the plant. UVB will damage the plant, So it's what you get from basically what you get from it is you get higher terpenes. So it's varied. And since I started producing the lights and researching it about 2 years ago, I've talked to a lot of manufacturers, growers, industrial growers, who are using it not just for cannabis but also for herbs So growing rosemary in greenhouses, for example, they're not getting the UV through the glass, so they're using UVB to get that stickier, more potent smell from the rosemary, like as if you were growing outdoors.
So how long before we see a switch on our lights that's going to allow us to activate UVB?
Well, the difficulty is UVB is not really feasible in LED terms. So I did a lot of research on this again, and there are UVB LEDs. They're extremely expensive and very low efficacy and very low lifespan. So they're not practical for growers. You have to use basically fluorescence or some sort of basically plasma, which is basically high voltage through a mercury.
Enemy dropping into the AO. Check weapons and gear. You got time before deployment.
So once I sell now, that's when the light works. Agramax and Fueler sell the same ones. It's a fluorescent tube where it's pretty much similar to the standard fluorescent tube, except it has much less phosphorus on the coating of the inside.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Glass, which will allow the UVB to pass. And generates a little bit of light as well. But second, by the way, is rectangle tanning. They're all the same technology. It's just a standard fluorescent. It's got mercury in it. It's fired up with electricity to make plasma.
Enemy dropping into the AO. Preparation's done. Time to deploy to the war zone.
Phosphorus coating on the inside of the board. Those
Resurgence. Gas is approaching your position. Get to the safe zone. Survive the countdown to secure your redeployment. Owning points speeds up the countdown.
Every day for 3 weeks, so you might be using it for 20 hours as well. So they're very cheap.
Execute all targets in the AO.
There is a range. Some strains just do not respond as well as others.
Positive ID on the bounty target. Let's make this quick.
Depending on the plant if you get anywhere from about 5% to about 40% increase in turkey.
Damn. See, and that's where that low of investment to get that large of a return. I see why a lot of people
Enemy UAV active.
Just kind of about implementing it into a tent or a smaller space and how you're going to be able to put that in your room easily without a whole lot of work when you've got a full canopy. In my case, I've got, plants are maybe 4.5, 5 weeks into flowering, and they're in a trellis. So I can't really just move things as easy as I'd like to. They're stuck where they're at. So it's like, well, you either have it ready or the next grow. For me at least. Another thing I wanted to touch on that I've had a lot of people ask me, and I never have a solid answer. I never do. But I just say, I noticed my plants need it too. LEDs and calcium deficiency. Is that? So here's this little bit of research that I've always given people, that basically the plant is working harder, and the free calcium, it's ionized by the light, essentially. So it's not going to be as powerful for your plant in comparison if you're dealing with lesser powerful lighting. Is there any science, or is that all blow science? Sounded like good science.
Yeah, I don't honestly know. I'm certainly not an expert in terms of
target is down. Marvelous.
I have I used to get a lot more questions about it, particularly people switching over. I don't get as much questions about it anymore. I don't know why.
Everybody just pours CalMag on everything as a fix.
Yeah, you're nailed it. And I'm curious if this all has a lot to do with the evolution of LEDs and maybe the evolution.
Gas is right on your tail. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Along with cannabis. Maybe it's possible that these nutrient companies have taken into consideration that 95% of their base is using LED and have made some kind of adjustment. Maybe this is a nutrient question, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. it's unlikely it's going to be because of a significant increase in light output. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
That's what we need to find the scientist who knows this. Because that one, I've never really found out why. I've looked it up in forums and hearsay, but I've seen my plants do it where I'm like, how in the hell? And especially I'm growing in cocoa, so I'll cut the calcium in a certain point. I don't need to add that in, but I'll still add some magnesium. And I'll still start seeing deficiencies. I'm like, how is this happening right now? How?
Right.
Yeah.
It's clear we're definitely, whatever we can have a conversation, Shane, like, it's clear we're probably going to have a 2.0 on this one.
We may have to have you come back. A better time for you that'll work so you don't interrupt the family flow or any of that stuff.
Right. We have there's so much to unbox, man, but like you have explained so much to me that has allowed me to think, okay, Chris is right. Again.
Friendly loadout drop on the way.
That's okay. You know, I'm not upset about that. Shane, real quick, what's your Instagram? What's your YouTube? Where can we find you if we have any questions?
Yeah, so YouTube is Migro, M-I-G-R-O. Instagram
Get to the
is
new safe
Migro
zone.
Light.
Gas is closing in.
And that's about it really. There's a website, migrolight.com. Yeah, so I publish Grow Light reviews every week. Pretty much every the majority of the have been tested and reviewed in the last 12 months or so you get right up to date information.
Enemy UAV
Blogs
active.
on the website, how to understand it, what grow light to buy, how big a light you need, all that stuff. And Instagram, same thing with reviews. We try to put out a little bit of science stuff as well. It's kind of light, but a lot of it is visual, using graphs and spectrum charts and that sort of stuff. But a fairly good database of a lot of the things we would have discussed now this evening will be covered on Instagram and YouTube channel.
25 remaining.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. I've taken a lot away from this conversation.
Enemy UAV active.
I'll be back anytime.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'd love to see it even more in depth with the more technical guy we have here. Maybe a garden talk, Mr. Grow It. That would be I'd love to see that one. I'd love to see that
We'll
one.
have to talk about that after we end the podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, boys, it's your boy Rob from CLTV, Mr. Grow It, Pigeons, and Shane from My Grow. It's awesome to have you here, man. Appreciate it. Until next time. Peace.
Lifestyle TV.
Got a loadout drop inbound.
The show is brought to you by Dutch Pro USA. Nutrients made for growers by growers. From the base nutrients to the Explode Booster. Dutch Pro USA is bringing you the essentials that all growers need without the extra bottles. This is Spider Farm LEDs. One of the leaders in affordable quality LED lighting for growers. From the SF Quantum Board series to the SE Bar style LEDs. Spider Farmer has you covered without breaking the bank. Find Spider Farmer LEDs on Amazon.com. And AC Infinity, innovators in the air game, providing state-of-the-art and more to the home grower. Visit ACinfinity.com or Amazon to pick up some of their products. And you can save money with any of these brands by checking out the discount codes below in the description.
Wow. Okay. Okay, motherfucker.
You're redeploying. Make it mean something. Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing in.
It's perfect. You know what it was? It was a
Fire sale
so I thought I was getting
Fire
good,
station costs
but
are
instead I
adjusted.
activated it. See?
Technology, dude. I can't stand technology.
You gotta teach his fingers. His fingers hard to power right there. Yeah. Oh.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show, dude. That's an honor for us. We've been big fans of the content for a long time. Seeing what you do in the industry now is an honor, man, to see it being moved from kind of comical to like people looking at it a certain way to this is the real life stuff. This is someone pushing it for the industry, for the community, and for the consumer.
Well, it's what do you call it? It's a blessing in disguise, in a
Fire
sense.
sales done.
The thing is, the pandemic did a perfect time for Cheech and I. Because we were getting so old. You know, when we started our career, we were young guys acting like old guys. And now we're old guys trying to act like young guys. Well, when you're old, it's really
You're losing ground.
Yeah.
Move it.
Because it takes too much of well, first of all, you can't because you're old. You know, it takes us time to just get out of a chair. You know, I have to allow a few minutes. You know? But as far as the weed goes, again, it's
The objective is to eliminate the bounty target.
Blessing in a way. Number one, we made our bones because it was illegal, you know, and so we were the pioneers. You know, we were doing things that no comedians were doing, and we were barred from like decent TV. You know, like we never hit the Tonight Show. You know, they had every comic on, I think, including Sam Kinison. Never had Cheech and Chong on, and it was Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live really had a...
No second chances. Resurgence has been closed.
No dope jokes. No
Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing in.
We were the biggest influence of, you know, John Belushi, because we knew John from back in the day, you know, before Saturday Night Live. And Belushi almost got kicked off the improv group that he was in because he was doing Cheech and Chong bits. And so so you know, now that a lot of people are crediting Cheech and Chong for you know, the legalization. We're still not allowed on these shows.
It's funny how the times have not changed that way in terms of.
Those guys did. We had their actors playing Cheech and Chong.
You made it to the top 10. You'll make it further next time. Come back stronger next time. Only 5 left.
It's kind of just completely opposite of what they wanted you to know, you know? And the evolution, if you will, and the evolution of just the perception.
All right, let's see if we can do better.
Has come a long way, but still has a long way to go.
Oh, well look what Bush, when Bush and Ashcroft, you know, they decided, you know, to attack Iraq for something, you know, Bin Laden did, or, you know, supposedly did, you know, the Twin Towers, when the 9/11, we just celebrated, yeah, you know, and so their reaction was, you almost want to believe some of the conspiracy crap that's been going around here.
Use this time to train a bit. We'll be deploying soon.
Her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday. I hired a documentary team. I traced Mommy's family roots. Her 40th birthday was going...
never missed in the strategy realm of Madden. And I've written a guide. You know, I do most of my strategy content in good faith, right? With this one,
enemy dropping into the AO. Practice is over. The real fight begins now.
EA is being aloof. Aloof would indicate that they just don't know what they do.
Resurgence. Rush to the safe zone. You got gas closing in fast. Hold out until the countdown is complete to redeploy for free. Any point-worthy action will shorten its duration.
This is episode 1, day 1. We're going to start basically from scratch, showing you every detail.
Targets are up. Take them out.
We've done seasons 1 and 2. The way that we're going to do that is start from the very beginning, which we've literally done before, but today we've left everything out. We're going to revive all of this soil, so to speak. We are going to be using these 30 gallons. Again, they're going to be a no-till round 1, so to speak. We've already used them once from the bag as far as potting soil. We're going to leave that undisturbed and show you what we would do to start. We're also going to take a soil sample from these today so we can get it to the lab and share some more data with you. As that's part of your
supply box located. Move to secure.
I'd like to give you as many data points as possible to be able to recreate this at home. As that's the whole point, is to educate and make sure that you're independent, not dependent. Teaching you. I hope that we keep the data around, share it with anybody. You can look this up and use it again in the future. Also, as we improve, we can revisit and say what we've done different. So to get started, we're going to move this stuff inside. I want you to let me show you what it looks like. So take a peek in here. It's basically empty. The 3x3 we left undisturbed from the last time. And we're going to show you how to set that up. We're going to put the 30 gallons in here. I've got PM5. We also have to clean the equipment. We're going to have to clean the fans. We have to clean the humidifier. And we'll discuss that as we go.
Enemy UAV active.
Set up some new quadrants. But the gist of it is we're going to have old school genetics, new school genetics, and we're going to run some auto flowers this time. So we've got a big mix of kind of everything to cover in this 10x10 this time around. But let me show you what else we're going to do. I've got a few things set up here. We'll go over the seeds next time. But I've got all the seeds ready because we want to get germinating, hopefully by episode 2. So coming really quickly, we're going to kick this off. But today I'm going to open up a brand new journal, and we're going to write down 10x10 season 3 and the date, and we're going to keep track of all the details that we go through, including how much water we use, anytime we add anything, whether it's on camera or off camera. By the time it's done, we're going to put this each time in digital form. We'll have it either on the videos or in a long-form format where you'll have access to all the data that we write down.
You've got gas moving in.
That instead of just teaching as I get an opportunity, we'll be able to document it and share you step-by-step everything that we actually do in here. Besides that, we've got everything. So we've got the 30 gallons, move those in earth boxes. More than likely what we're going to do is use that on another episode. I'd like to dump them and show you what it looks like inside there. Show you what the very bottom looks like in the reservoir after you've used them for a couple of cycles.
Enemy UAV
also see
active.
how many worms are in there, and we're going to remix this in soil. Recycling the soil is another totally good way to use it. So what we're going to do is combine the 5 gallons, the earth boxes, anything that we want to recycle, and I'm going to show you how that works. We're going to put it on a tarp or put it in a tub. We'll re-amend it with some craftland and show you how to get it back in working order. And we're going to use that in our 10x10 for the vegetables, which is the new series that we're going to have as a separate run. Let me show you. Right here's the new 10x10.
Man, I
so
can't stop eating the blood.
A lot of people want to know how to grow their own food indoors.
Shit tastes good as a motherfucker.
How to start tomato starts, which we're going to use for the business here, selling the starts. We're also going to plant them in the vegetable greenhouse that we're also going to show you a lot about this season. So more to expect to build the soil in 2022. We're going to teach you about the greenhouse, vegetables in the 10x10, and we're still going to do our normal 10x10 series and continue.
Friendly loadout drop on the way.
Sneak peek into the vegetable 10x10. We're going to start off full of racks, starting with lots of seeds for the season. Then we're going to convert to a full vegetable garden right from a 10x10 that we can eat out of every day, and we'll be documenting it. But let me show you the sneak peek.
Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing
my wife,
in.
Gwen, and she's germinating a whole bunch of tomato seeds right now. In here, we got racks set up and lights set up. And this is where it's all going to go. Over here, she's germinating a whole bunch of seeds. Here's all the different packs. We're going to review those as part of that series. So if you're interested in that stuff, we'll show you everything that we got going on. But for right now, I'm just going to clean. So this is me running around the basic model. Literally going to go in there. I'll get a bucket of hot water, some EM5. I'll start taking the fans apart. So if you have questions about anything that I may leave out because there's a lot going on, ask them. Cleaning is an important part. We use EM5, which I kind of showed you. I use this throughout the grow. I use it for cleaning the plants. I also use it for cleaning anything in the grow room because I always have it around and I like it. I mix it into the water and I use hot water to clean the trays out.
Only 25 remain.
Well, last time we shot back it out and we're going to order a new liner from Gorilla Grow Tent. We've had this one in a number of years. It'll last a long time. If you ever need to replace something off the part. So we're going to get a whole new liner in here and we're going to lift the soil back up and put everything on top of the new liner as we set up this grow room. We've also got 2 new lights coming from Timber that we're really excited about. Above me here, we have one of the original models that we started with, and that's a Cobb series, a 50-watt Cobb, 600-watt setup. Really enjoy the light. To help kick that off, they're going to send us a couple, and we're going to discuss it while we set it up and use it here in the 10x10. So, Timber, thank you for that. Dan, always a help over there. Everyone that works with Timber knows that they're really helpful and answer a lot of questions. They're built really high quality, and so every light we have has been used in multiple different places. We haven't had any of them break. We have every timber that we've ever used. For today, what we're going to do is re-moisten the soil. And so it's super important that we start to bring things back to life. Normally what would happen is
gas is right on your tail.
Started and you're doing no-till. Oftentimes you would harvest and you'd get right back at it. And so there would be no downtime as far as the soil would still be moist. You'd harvest and you would immediately go to it. There'd still be cover crops going. There'd be worms in there. And it makes no-till very easy. Other times, life gets busy and you shut down for a little while between cycles. That's what we did. We're running a business here. We've got a lot going on and we're getting ready for the big busy season for 2022, both on our vegetable farm as well as
enemy UAV active
business, which means that we shut it down for a little while. So what we're going to show you is what it looks like when you've been shut down for a while and how to re-amend and how to start up from scratch. And to do that, we want to start to reintroduce the life. One of the ways I like to do that is to put a wetting agent, some microbials, and take a dry soil that's been sitting around a while, and get it optimal as far as the moisture and the temperature goes, get it in its environment where it's going to live, and then we're going to do a few things. Today, I'm going to take a sample to send off to the lab for a soil test. The reason why I want to do that is partially this time I want to show you that you don't have to rely on a soil test, but it can be helpful. So, in these two 30 gallons, we're recycling them, or we're no-tilling them. It'll be a second cycle. We're going to do a soil test.
You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
And we're just going to mend it. If you're at home, more than likely that's what you're going to do. I don't want you to think that it's some of So I'll show you a soil test, properly amended. Then I'll show you just shooting from the hip, following the golden soil. And then we're going to watch these plants grow. We're going to start with seed, new seeds all over. We'll talk about that more as we go. Getting started, we need to get this wet. Over here in the 3x3, there's still some moisture in the bottom. There's some cover crops that are loosely growing in here, which is pretty crazy. In the dark, it was growing. But what we want to do is rebalance the moisture in there. So I've got the Chapin sprayer, I've got some root wise, I've got spread the moisture in there. And so that's all I'm really
Watch your six. Resurgence will be gone soon.
Just to make sure that we inoculate it. And this is something that can help the plants as far as
prices are back to normal.
That'll provide some plant health as well as some pest defense. So we're going to be using the Boveri Bassiana. We're going to be using Microbe Complete from Rootwise, and that's just going to add the mycorrhizae, all the different bacteria. Since it's been dry in here for a while, I want to kickstart it with life. And so to do the full trifecta, we're going to add in the Rootwise catalyst, the enzyme.
Gas is right on your tail.
This will speed up the process. And then what I'm going to do is let this sit over the weekend, and I'm going to write down in my book here exactly how much
enemy
water
soldier
I add
nearby.
to the 3x3, and exactly how much water I add over here, and how much of the products that I add, and we're going to keep track of it. I'm going to write it down in my journal, and we'll update that on the videos, so that if for whatever reason you're wondering exactly how much water I added each time, or exactly how much of which product, we'll keep documentation of it the entire time. That's all we're doing today. I scrubbed the floors a little bit, shot back everything out. I got any little spider webs or anything out of the corners with the shot back. Over here, we actually put another tray. But if you look closely, it's actually 2 flood trays. It's kind of funny, but we've had these sitting around for a long time. I've used them in the past. I put them together, and they've been like someone stood in them, and they've just been moved around. They are literally fused together. And the plastic's kind of brittle, so...
Recon overflight inbound.
It just wants to break.
UAV beginning flyover.
Leave 2 trays in here because I don't need another one. It is what it is. One of the things that I think is important in the garden, you don't have to have
Reinforcement
you
disabled.
have a grow light that works, use it. You don't need a new one. The timbers are great.
You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
Is genetics
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
So make sure that you focus on the weakest link. For us, the tray, I kind of feel...
UAV is out of fuel. It's down to the final 10. Come out on top.
We like sprayed some water in there. We're thinking about heating it so it would be more malleable, or maybe getting it cold so it shrinks a bit. But we're going to get a 4x4.
Recon's up.
This is a grassroots 4x4.
UAV beginning flyover.
Earlier, the grassroots living soil beds. And in here is a BPA-free food-grade plastic liner. This allows to keep moisture in here in this big bed, keep the worms happy, keep the roots going. But then it's open in the bottom. That way you don't get moisture buildup in the bottom. If possible, I like to put a tray. A couple of ideas for you. You don't have the ability to order one of these big trays. You can build something. You can literally put like some...
UAV is out of fuel. Returning for resupply.
You can actually just put 2x4s or PVC around the edge.
Gas is moving.
Up a lip for your tarp. It doesn't need to hold 50 gallons of water. You just want it to hold a tiny bit of runoff. And if you don't have it, I just wanted to give you some ideas and show you that we're not doing it perfect, and it doesn't have to be. Lastly, we clean the fan. One thing I do want to point out is if you've turned the fan before, you don't pay attention to the detail that's written in here, you want to unscrew backwards. So when you want to pull the fan blade off, you can't just unscrew it this way like you normally would. You actually screw it tightly and that loosens it. The reason why is they're not like pedals and bike. When this starts to rotate with the fan being on here, like this, the rotation is actually if it was threaded normally. So they do a reverse thread, and now you're spinning the proper way that moves the air in the direction you want, so it doesn't unthread itself. So if you're cleaning your fan for the first time, make sure that it's tightens to loosen it. That allows you to just basically pop this off for 2 days, take it out, turn it off, and now it's basically good as new. The other thing I didn't mention is this whole project is
Good shit.
Your team is in the top 5. Let's be the last. You made it to the top 10. You'll make it further next time.
At least 4.
We lost that one, but we'll come back strong next time.
However, leaving the front office if they were to be all metal here to be a full greenhouse fan, it'd be hundreds of dollars per fan. So you can be price effective and lightweight years. Take a little bit of weight off of there, it's likely to last longer. Keep it clean, it's going to last longer than that. Soil sampling. And I told you we're going to have more data this time. I'm going to take a journal, take notes, write down exactly what we're doing, how much water, each time we're bringing it on camera or off camera. Over here, I want to take at least one of these.
Show that one of the water, motherfucker. Come on.
I'll do. So it's gonna be difficult for me. So every 16 cent, I'm up 150,000. So I want to make it.
Use this time to train a bit. We'll be deploying soon. Enemy soldier nearby.
So you guys comment below, said I hold it all the way to the dollar, and then it gets the thing to take my product. So really, but comment below, let me know what y'all see in the process. I don't, it's difficult because you want our money. You know what I'm saying? I want my money. You know, I want the big money. Like that little money I'm saying. Tell the truth, like 150,000, man, ain't enough money for me. Like I need to go to that, so I want to type this shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's like.
I don't think no even other wheels exist, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to show you these new wheels, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go top level, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Omar.
Practice is over. The real fight begins now.
These 3 of them. Mr. Board, come on, man. My guy got I love it. Got my name spelled right.
take the panties off. Yes, let me stop him. 3.4. And it's going to live. He got it. He said, dig the front, so the reason have a digger left. Well, where the rear is at? Like, get here, I got open up if you want.
Resurgence. Rush to the safe zone. You got gas closing in fast. Hold out until the countdown is complete to redeploy for free. Any point-worthy action will shorten its duration. Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
With the grade and the material, top of all that, so I was like, damn, I give me a dime, man. I'm gonna do it like all this. And I had to get the rims had.
Enemy UAV active. Kill all
targets.
Go.
You want to order the same Mr. Organic? That up right there, man. It's 24. They're the deep dishes. Oh shit. Yeah, that's the back one, right? Yes, sir. That's the one. That's the one I gotta take out there and size it up. Oh man, I gotta take the roof off and all that, open it up so the roof with the red loose. That's the one, guys. Now, let me take these motherfuckers. Come on, baby. He's shot now. We've been courting for a couple months now. Huh? He's shot, baby.
Airstrike target marked. Take it out.
Got your request. Cluster strike is ready.
Everybody in the world, man. Ain't nobody do it like me. Everybody can do it like me. I represent everybody.
Enemy cluster strike. Watch your heads.
Hold this down for me, brother.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Yeah, that's what it is. This one is easy. Yeah. 3 of them. Real bar here. Yeah. This organic Forgiata. You can't do it bigger and better. I'm trying to warn you guys. If you want some wins, you gotta go to Forgiata. What the F stand for?
Only iron sharpens iron.
This is the Rolls Royce Don, by the way. That ain't the regular Smith, dude. That's a Don, bitch. Let me put this motherfucker on my foot.
You've got gas moving in.
Yeah. Okay, I know I gotta take the top down. I'm gonna take it down. One second, man.
Enemy soldier nearby.
I gotta watch. I wanna mess up the goddamn windows. But we're gonna show y'all some understanding in about a couple of seconds, man. 3 of them, we got. We out. The life I live and think God not normal. The cars that I drive, the crib I live not normal. The thoughts that I had as a kid not normal. The money that I generate forever immortal. The finances divided in blockchain portal. NFTs and cryptos, no mere mortal. All my currency reproduced, my money fertile. Can't nothing stop me, I jump there. Hello. We ain't got no donuts today? No donuts. I want a donut. That was that one time. That was one time? One time. Guys, I already see it about.
Enemy UAV active.
Checked up Malibu cars.
Loadout drop headed your way.
Of course, just had a good workout. I drunk a protein shake, but also got this 2 little snacky snacks. I don't know what it is, but shit, it looks good. Yeah, look at the
gas is closing in. Relocating the safe zone.
Oh, looks good. What's up, bro? What's up, Ghost? We did it on. Oh, we got the whole way around, like black and red. Black and red. Very good. Can I Uber him to Saco now? Yeah. So let's Uber him to Saco now, and I go sit him on the phone. Oh, you still going Equinox over? I go to the one of those ones. Over. Oh, you still in here? It's worked out. Yeah, I'm like, I know it's gonna be closer to where I'm at. Yeah. 2 blocks away. Yeah. What the fuck? I was like, how you get Wesley supposed to hear?
Enemy UAV active.
start fucking with the Santa Monica window now, really. That's one right there on Santa Monica. Work out on the ocean, check it out. So I do both. When I'm out here, I go there, switch the whip, and then drive. Man, we gonna live life. You know what I mean? You can't do these shit twice.
25 remaining.
Love, man. We're out here, man. I got my fruit. One was on. One. Boy, Jado. Doge point going up. We're going to do at least $500,000 in gold minimum. Got about $1 million in Doge. Remember, that's just my Robinhood portfolio. I got a Coinbase wallet with something in there. Also got a Coinbase app, got something. We focus on the Robinhood for right now.
Enemy UAV active.
You know what I'm saying? We going to get at least $300,000 on that motherfucker. So comment below and tell me, 50 cents or $1. Other than that, we ain't selling. We held it. We ain't selling, we held it. What about her? What was this? Look how dusty it is. Nobody gets right. I like the rat. This got water flowing.
You've got gas moving in.
Both person being on the plant. We've been recording the whole time here, too. Oh, my bad. I got to for that. You know what I'm saying? We like to fish. I go with both holes, man. Back door and front door. What's wrong with y'all? But I'm up out here, man. Keep it organic for the seed. Believe me, I'm going to live your life. You can't do this shit twice. $40 on the dawn. You know what I'm saying? Looking like count 3 of them, man. Count 3 of them driving this motherfucker around, man. Keep it positive. I'm out here, Mr. Organic. Boom. B-roll. Showed you how to come up. I ain't really got to sit around and prove shit. Yeah. Rolls waist down flows looking like a cruise ship. From the seed, now you got to get your own fruit. See my wrist on freeze, see my wrist on freeze, see my neck go freeze, yeah, see my neck go freeze, yeah, you ain't getting none of these, no, you ain't getting none of these, yeah, pocket filled with cheese, yeah, I ain't talking about those, yeah, I ain't talking about those. I'm a double $150
Gas is moving in. New safe zone highlighted.
The tail lights right there with that red, but we take the glasses off.
Buy station costs are adjusted.
It's just the flex in that. Every time I jump out the bar, jump out the race, they're like, damn, what do you play for? And they can't play no sports. I didn't play no sports to get the Rolls Royce. I didn't play no sports to peace, prosperity, positivity, and progression to all. I didn't play no sports to get the man team. Yeah, I didn't play no sports. I didn't play no sports to fuck that bad bitch. I didn't play no sports to get filthy rich. I didn't play no
Watch your
sports
six. Resurgence will be gone soon.
5 years later, we broke with bad health.
Fire sales done. Prices are back to normal.
I'm talking, no one cares. We got mouths to feed. Yeah, we on the sideline with the pain. We can't even walk straight. Have no fear, Mr. Organics here. Watch out now. Get ready to read.
Located a supply box. Secure that position. You're losing ground. Move it.
Sweat on my face. This ain't artificial sweat either. This real deal working out sweat. So, see, look at that. I told you I had that shit on my nail. I thought it was nail polish on. Tricked out. It's to make the nail fall off, and it did. For all you motherfuckers worrying about my pinky, man. Now it fell off, and it's gonna come back better than ever. You know what I'm saying? Like gargoyle stone. The skin come out. But listen up. Time to put the wheels on the Don Dada. Still trying to come up with a cold theme for the rap. You know, it's the Don Dada. That's what I call it. AKA this the North. So we're gonna come up with a cold theme. But we gotta head over to Psycho. Whatever y'all call it.
Enemy soldier nearby.
Looking forward to putting these joints on here. And I know a lot of people get similar wheels on their own wheels and stuff like that. But these are a little different. They got the ones with the lip on it, and they got the two-tone on it.
Resurgence has been turned off. Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing in. You've made it to the top 10.
The Vendador, I gotta go pick out the boost for that. But right now, the Urus mounted up. Now we'll get the Don mounted up, man. So hope y'all going out your way, having a great day, working out everywhere you improve. Talk about my nose when I get in the car, because that motherfucker shit. consolidate, all the way through. So, give y'all an update on that. I'm gonna put it down. You know, to my dog Sacco, man. You see that boy back in shape looking great. 40 years old, man. Can't you tell? Nope. I know. But I'm a healthy, wealthy nigga, man. He could be this way too, man. Believe in himself, work hard, drink water, eat fruit. You know what I'm saying? Keep the negativity out your life. You know what I'm saying? Let's grow. Shout out to my dog, 16 Shot Visuals. Came through yesterday. Did the interview out my crib, you know what I'm saying? Always watch his interviews and stuff with all the, you know, Chicago drill legends and all that, you know what I'm saying? He did like one of the first, if not the first, interview with King Von.
You've got gas moving in.
So he hit me up. We did a legendary at the crib, so look at it.
Good shit, good shit.
Only 10 remain. 10. Come back stronger this time.
One more time, one more time.
That's a drop to his channel. You know what I'm saying? So, other than that, when it's on, the interior, definitely red. It's hot in the bitch, we're gonna keep that top on. When we drop, we don't want to melt the great one. Standing on this one. Ooh, now that's what it's about right there now. You know what I'm saying? When you see that joint, that interior looking like that, with the wheels like that, what hard work gets you right here, man. There's definitely what hard work gets your motherfucking ass, man. Let me see, baby. Mr. Organic. Floating around the world looking like that, man. Woo! Nice and cool is the way I like it. Real ignorant like it. 3 of them to God. Wait till I get that rap on this son of a bitch, man. Rolls Royce Don for the Don, man. The original Don. 3 of them, nigga. Yeah. Smarter than the smartest nigga. Flyer than the flyest nigga. I'ma show you how to
check your gear and weapons. We go soon.
You gotta love it, I'm gonna give you my stuff to other people. You gotta manifest early. Better one of mine. Because he learned it early to appreciate this cool stuff. Yep, early. Touch it, feel it. That's how you do it, man. Oh, for real? I want to give you one.
Big boy, not cowboy. You know?
Yeah. Well, you got Instagram stuff? You don't do all that stuff?
Kind of old school. But Junior knows me really good.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Well, shit.
I'm Johnny.
I'm Organic. Yeah, nice to meet you too, man. Appreciate the love, man. But yeah, we up out of here, man. Got the wheels on the Dawn. I love it, man. This is, I told you, this is my favorite car out of the cars I got. It's just so me, so rich, so presidential, and it's all about growth, man. Understanding, man. I'm the inspiration for my people. I'm gonna stay that way, man. It's Count Draco, AK3 of. You know
practice is over. The real fight begins now.
Our life in this tourist storm. We're gonna get money. We're gonna stay positive. We're gonna protect the Appreciate that. We're gonna keep going and keep growing. You know, next thing we're gonna do, I think the big door will get the
resurgence. Rush to the safe zone. You got gas closing in fast. Survive the countdown to secure your redeployment. Earning points speeds up the countdown. Kill all targets. Go. Enemy UAV active. Enemy UAV active.
I ain't talking about Louis, yeah. I got my own shit, yeah. Nigga, yeah. I built my own brand, yeah. Fuck that, bro, damn, nigga. I'm my own man, nigga. Man, listen, 40 hours on all the bars. I did it back to back to back to back. I had 4 whips, nigga, talking about 100,000 on that. Track car, look at me, boom, fire all down the street, fucking. Then I sold that bitch, yeah, for a couple extra cheese, nigga. I have this much. I'm looking forward to it again next year. I will have more. Have no fears. Bitch, go get it, or get it, like down back. Hello, motherfuckers. Have no fear to garnish here, man. Shout out to everybody on the Nation G Squad. Of course, can't forget the G Squad. And the gargoyle game, the game, the game. Sparkling time. Said that bitch clean, man. Yeah. That's called investing in self-belief in yourself. Doing the rest. That's called hard work. Yeah. That's what we're doing around.
You've got gas moving in.
Everybody keeping it organic. How you keep it organic? Be positive. Be real. Be original. Be healthy. Have growth. And of course, got to be fresh. You see the outfit, man? Huh? Oh, guess what time it is, man? Not yet. Relax, man. Other than that, man, listen up, man.
Enemy UAV active.
I'm in Malibu, man. Yeah, Malibu water, man. The Malibu monster, man. Malibu most wanted, 3 of the guy. Got the body out, so you know I'm feeling extra strapped. I hardly ever let the motherfucker on it out. But I hardly ever let the motherfucker chestnut out for you, motherfucker. But today I'm in the mood, man. It's a beautiful thing. So it's only right that I stay productive. Hopefully you guys are too, man. Hope you're working out, drinking water, eating fruit, doing all that good shit. Believe in yourself, saying fuck the rest. Huh? Investing in yourself, like I said, the beginning part, that's the most important part. Yeah, don't be scared to put your money online, especially your time. Nothing more important, nothing is more valuable than time. Hear me? Remember that shit, bitch. Then when you apply the knowledge to it, that's more valuable than time, motherfucker. Did you know that? Because you know what? There's all circles around and back to time, because knowledge gives you more time to slow things down for you, make it easy. Yeah, so I'm feeling good, feeling great. Dr. Marvel back in the gym. You see that? Yeah, one of the ones, man. I know. It's only take me 3 days in the gym, and I'm back always looking like that, man.
Get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing in.
Anyway, man, we'll check with you y'all on that last time. Shit. The goal goes down, so hopefully we can make it there. And I did think that's my wrist there, if I'm not mistaken. I saw one of my homeboys from Fort Giles at the gym the other night. I think he said they're done, so everybody keep their fingers crossed. If not, I can still do the reps. For the AMT, he's got 4x4 squares. Other than that, just enjoy Mr. Organic on the business, man. These the commentary about life and the pursuit of happiness and greatness.
Bounty target is up. Take him down.
I'm looking at the AP damn, that motherfucker shining. That's a hurt.
Bounty target is down. Marvelous.
Fall to water. Oh, like, bam.
Only 25 remain. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Flexing on these hoes, flexing on these hoes, flexing on these niggas, flexing on these niggas, flexing on these hoes, flexing on these hoes, flexing on these niggas, flexing on these niggas, dropping off the top rope a big man.
You're losing ground. Move it.
Malibu, $1 million on everything from real nigga and real estate. Got OCU and a food show. NBA money, but I don't lose. Headed to state in Malibu. NBA money, but I don't lose. Headed to state in Malibu. Slide through in Malibu, $1 million on everything from real nigga and real estate. Got OCU and a food show. NBA money, but I don't lose. Headed to state in Malibu. NBA money, but I don't lose. Headed to state in Malibu. Slide through in Malibu, $1 million on everything from real nigga and real estate. prosperity, positivity, and progression. Cool, we got something. We got those two red ones. Take it off like a rocket.
Ooh, man.
Do better this time.
Look at the motherfucking fleet. Look at there's a little rain, you know. It hardly ever rains in Southern California, they would do it. You know what I mean?
You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
I had a car wash guy that Chet come do it, just wash the car.
Fire sale is active. Buy station motor adjusted.
4x4 square. Rolls Royce rate. Ferrari 488. 728 Smith McLaren. And of course the ALGT Silver Reds, man. Woo! Can't wait to see him with all the rims on them and shit like that. It's gonna be spectacular. And all the wraps on it. So only got 2 wraps. 1 with the rims on it. So yeah, gotta get 1, 2, 3 done. Like I said, I think I'm gonna keep the
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Because it's more sporty and all that shit. I want to get the heavy.
Watch your 6. Resurgence will be gone soon.
Probably will later, I don't know. But I already got the 40s ordered for the 720.
Fire sale done. Prices are back to normal.
Hopefully they're ready to pick up, take the stock I'm gonna put on. So man, rub it on the ball skis now. Hopefully positivity and manifestation take place today, man. Other than that, without further ado, let me hop in the AMG GT, you bitch. Big dog shit.
Gas is inbound. Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Around the mountain, here we go. I said I'm moving around the mountain, here we go. But yeah, keep it pure and positive at the top of Gargoyle Mountain. Join us so much, man. They gotta have a person in front of me. So hopefully they got the outlet and get their goddamn masses out the way. Or I do what I gotta do and get around them.
Only 10 are left.
Another day in paradise. Understand
this is the end game. Resurgence has been turned off. You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
We got a nice cultivated sorority here. Not sorority, as in women's fraternity here. There we go. We get it together, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I appreciate you guys, man. We never needed everybody. We don't go for the fame. We don't go for the
Motherfucker.
10 remain. 10.
Alright, 1 more.
Late aside that time, but we'll settle.
Man, we need to get to 300,000, by the way. So go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for just watching and enjoying the greatness without subscribing. Y'all cheating yourself. Go ahead and subscribe.
Coming up on Garden Talk.
Splash and the Soldier of the Game Spitter community.
Well, summer.
Practice while you can. You'll be entering the field in a bit.
Hey.
again.
Training's over.
Gym
Time to see what you've learned.
Y'all dating each other now. So I wanted to show you this video. I want to show you somebody that it looked like they're happy now. She's open, right? Now they look happy. And shout out to Kevin Samuels was also said if a woman is overweight, men won't want her. You know what I'm saying? And that just doesn't apply to men in our community.
Resurgence.
Like our women big.
That's gas you don't want to breathe. Make your way to the safe zone.
She's got to be at least 600 pounds because she has a lot of muscle.
Withstand a resurgence countdown to guarantee your redeployment. Earn points to secure it faster. Enemy soldier nearby.
Yeah, I want to be passing for good men. And a lot of times in the settlers of the hawks, it's only because I have this perfected figurative
kill all targets. Go.
Disney mess y'all idea of man up. You women are single because of you, not because of men. Just being real. Now, I bring up the statistic, I think I will. 40.5% of adult men have no biological children, and trust me, it's not because it's men's choice.
Enemy UAV active.
Aren't choosing them. And I'm pretty sure and confident the majority of those dudes in the 40% are average-looking guys. Just average.
Doing certain things before a workout can help increase vascularity, improve energy, and boost your overall performance, leading to a far better workout and far more impressive results, both in terms of today, I'm going to go over 10 of the best things you can do before your workout to maximize your results. And first, I want to start with something that most of you already have in your kitchen: baking soda. Most people don't realize that sodium bicarbonate or baking soda can be used to enhance your performance. Baking soda is beneficial due to the fact that it's a mildly alkaline salt that can help regulate the pH levels within your muscles. Put it simply, in chemistry, pH is a scale that's used to indicate how acidic or alkaline a solution is. A pH of 7 is considered neutral, and a pH of 7 also happens to be the normal pH level within muscle cells. Your muscles function best when they're in this neutral pH state, but exercise itself can have an effect that changes your muscular pH balance. You see, during anaerobic exercise, which is basically any form of high-intensity exercise like heavy weight training or sprinting, when you're working in that anaerobic state, your body's oxygen actually exceeds the available supply. So as a response, the anaerobic energy pathway gets activated, and this pathway is primarily fueled by carbohydrates in the form of glucose. But aside from that, it also causes an increase in the production of lactic acid.
Gas is right on your
lactic
tail.
acid in your muscles cause pH levels to fall below 7, which disrupts energy production and your muscles' ability to contract, leading to a reduction in exercise performance. Fortunately, baking soda, with its alkaline pH of 8.4, can offer a solution for those lactic acids. By taking baking soda, you can raise blood pH levels slightly, which allows lactic acids to move from the muscle cells into the bloodstream. And that process results in a reduction in pH within your muscles. This improves your muscles' ability to continue to contract and produce energy, and it's been proven to do so by a number of scientific studies. For example, we have a study that examined the effects of taking baking soda 60 minutes before performing squats and bench presses to failure. As you can see in the graph from the study, there was definitely an impressive increase in squat performance. After taking the baking soda, the participants could do around 8 more squats over the course of the 3 sets than what they could do when they weren't taking it, which is a significant increase. With that said, the study only found a performance increase in the squat, but it didn't find a boost in bench press performance. This could be because the squat uses larger muscles than the bench press, but more research would definitely help. The other thing to keep in mind is that not everyone reacts the same to baking soda. While some participants experience positive effects, others experience adverse effects like stomach discomfort, nausea, and water retention. That's why you might want to try out a small dose first before trying the standard dose. For example,
get to the new safe zone. Gas is closing in.
Normal recommended amount on your first time is a great idea. And the usual recommended dose is 90 to 135 milligrams per pound of body weight, about 60 to 90 minutes before exercise. Now, if baking soda doesn't sit well with you, another proven single ingredient supplement that you can take is beta-alanine. Now, even though beta-alanine is a non-essential amino acid and it works a little differently, it still provides when you would normally fail. It does this by working with another amino acid known as histidine to produce carnosine. And similar to baking soda, carnosine has a pretty big impact on pH levels, helping you perform better. Might give you a feeling of pins and needles.
I forgot to blaze the blunt.
Even though the you shouldn't worry because beta-alanine is a natural amino acid and it's considered a very safe supplement. Another thing you can do before your workout, if your goal is to maximize muscle growth, is to have at least 25 grams of protein. Now, you don't have to do this. You can still build muscle even if you train fasted. When it comes to protein, the single most important thing is that you don't However, even if you already get enough protein throughout the entire day, you can increase the benefits slightly by taking in protein close to your workouts, both beforehand and afterwards. For example, studies show that protein alone or with carbs before exercise.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Jump.
Use this time to train people and deploy him soon.
Because we all know, like, let's say age it all. Keyvon,
enemy dropping into the AO.
Always talking about the all the time, as if it was just like the best in the world. And or in that situation. Okay? Many people. Now, let's look at Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett allegedly has used Tupac to torment Will Smith. We know that because Will Smith even said that, right? But now, the question is this. What if they are not, or they were not as close as she alleges that they were? Wouldn't it be something to be like Tupac? If he was to name his top favorite 15 people, she wouldn't be up there. This is what Corey Holcomb was saying, right? Like, Corey Holcomb was saying, listen, Tupac never...
Playtime's over. Stand by for deployment to the war zone.
All right? And number one, like, he had the opportunity, he would have never taken that kind of disrespect from her. And you not have a relationship with Tupac. You poisoned your daughter to make your daughter feel that Tupac was more important in your life, or vice versa, and he didn't do a secrecy. Okay? And all this other crap. He said it in so many words.
Resurgence.
I never really
rush to the safe zone. You got gas closing in fast.
Together in Baltimore and stuff like that. But what if?
Hold out until the countdown is complete to redeploy for free. Any point where the action will shorten its duration.
You're always being compared to some guy by, some ex-girlfriend. But really, it's two situations. One,
targets are up.
Coming back for your ass.
Or an ex-boyfriend that didn't work out. But for whatever reason, this guy
returning you to the front line. Go get him.
Got more things in her than any other guy did. And in our mind, we start to really feel sort of jealous of this guy. Like, what is he doing that I'm not. Even if you did more, it just seems like the guy has a place in the heart. But think about this now, guys. I want you to understand this. What if this shit is fake? What if this is just made up?
Enemy dropping into the AO.
Just slept with a okay. What if it was just, you know, not that much of a big deal? And we're making it out to be a big deal, and it is not a big goddamn deal. And basically, you know, she's just seeing that because she's sick. Let me use this guy as a goalpost shift because you'll never be able to reach this. Never. You'll never be able to reach this level. You'll never be able to assess this level. And I can use this guy who really, maybe I never even slept with, maybe I don't even know him like that, to make you live up to a level that you can never get. And certain guys do that. Let me tell you something. And I want to do that right now, if I can. I will never, as long as I am black, I will never go for that shit. Ever. I've been through that before, and this makes sense. If somebody ever tries to compare me to somebody, now this is going to sound crazy, if that person is deceased or alive, my response is always going to be, why don't you go deal with it?
Gas is moving.
I told you I'd get you back.
I'm not living up to the standards of nobody, especially if that person is deceased. If you want them that bad, go over there where they're at. You can dig a hole next to them, or put up a bed, whatever you want to do. That sounds rude, and you go deal with it. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna talk to you about shit no more. I'm out. I'm out. You're gonna respect me in the living. I'm not gonna be living up to nobody's past or past already did for you. That's my attitude. You're not gonna make me have a fake have me hating somebody who ain't even living here no more. Then poison
enemy UAV active
to weaponize that against me. I will put both of y'all out. I know that sounds wrong, right? I'm from the I learned my lesson. Listen, both of y'all go over there and you deal with him. Let him pay your bills. I don't care if it's your ex-boyfriend or whatever, because things I know about ex-boyfriends and girls that think about them all day, well, he ain't paying your bills right now, or he ain't supporting you right now. He ain't going to take care of you right now. So why don't you go deal with him? There's a reason why.
Good shit, good shit.
And we never thought about it. Guys have really been weaponized by fake dudes.
Returning you to the front line. Go get them.
This. It's kind of like Santa Claus. Oh, yeah.
You got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
That's your mama behind that stuff. You've been duped. And then I believe there are a lot of ladies that dupe men into a sad story about the guy they love so much. Why are you telling me? Well, one, I don't hear. Because they don't want to hear that you being
enemy UAV active.
Some ex-girlfriend that I had, see, they'll feel some kind of way about that, yeah, right? What if guys start doing that? Yeah, my ex-girlfriend died, my fiance died. I never loved somebody like her. And I quite honestly, what she gonna try to do? It's gonna make her always
hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
That ain't there. And it might sound okay, but that's that game plan. That is crazy. And Will Smith has not caught a hold of the game. And I try to tell them all the time, you cannot play games with women. Okay? You can't beat them at that game. It's not a game you can beat them at. So don't even play it. I tell guys all the time, you're going to lose. And you will lose miserably. Every single
you made the top 25.
Damn.
Nearly there.
There is no winning in that shit. If they have somebody they love, there's too many women in the world, especially if they're really famous, because y'all be mad. Especially if you're rich, okay? Or on your way to being even in the upper middle class. Even if you're middle class, I don't care how much you make. You make $35,000, $40,000 a year, you at a good start. You ain't gonna always make that. But I can tell you what could stop you from making that. Trying to live up to some expectations of people that you don't know. How about you live up to the expectations of somebody that's in your industry you're trying to be like? or something.
Gas is moving.
Not to nobody's dead boyfriend or husband or kid's dad. Now, hell no. It's too many women that's going to want to compete for you at the level that you're already at. I'm not competing against nobody that already died. What the fuck I look like? Boo-boo the fool? You got me jacked up. And that's what Will Smith should have said. But he was too dusty. Look at him now. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again with another episode. What's Celebrity John? I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. Check out the first cup at the top. And as you know, the performer remains at all-time high. I'm out.
Enemy UAV active.
Ed asks you, what did you hear him just say?
I hear you say things that I'm listening. We've seen our grandmothers, our mothers, our great aunts give everything and get nothing. So for the first time in history, this is you don't get a food incubator. You don't get a food aid. You don't get a food aid.
Good shit.
No, y'all
There's a therapist.
Returning you to the front lines. Go get them.
None of this.
Fire sale is active. Buy station costs are adjusted.
Relationship or a miracle worker. A man that is secure within himself. He has his money. He has great characteristics.
Good shit.
25 remain. You could have lasted longer. Next time will be different.
I need another motherfucking
Return to
blunt.
base for debrief.
Ooh, it's time to go to bed.